Well, hey everybody, thank you for coming by. I appreciate each and every one of you more than you know. Today is going to be a bit of a Group Ironman update video, as well as me getting into what I think for at least mid-level Ironman is one of the more fun, effective moneymakers in the game. And I thought to start the video, you guys would like a little glimpse of me just trying to, get some magic levels, get some prayer up, and instead I get killed by this duo, I guess. Not really sure what you'd want to call it, but didn't quite make it out. That's alright. I was kind of AFK when they ran up on me and I noticed, and it was a little too late to do anything. So last update, I talked about wanting to go get to Barrows as soon as I could. Well, that might not happen as soon as I was hoping it would, but with failure comes innovation, I guess you could say. Your boy was working on magic levels earlier, as you saw. That didn't work out, so I needed to go get cash again, so I brought myself back to pickpocketing ham members. And then I got enough to be able to go back to the dragons again with some chaos runes, just enough to do like a run or two. You could say I've been pretty hell-bent on getting these magic levels up. I'm honestly more concerned about getting my magic levels up at this point than I was even my prayer, because I want to be able to do high alching myself and not have to rely on my other Group Ironman friends to high alch all of my stuff, because whenever they're not on or if they're doing stuff, I don't want to have to like call them up and be like, stop what you're doing either in real life or the game and high alch my things. I'm trying to be at least a little self-sufficient. So here you see I made it to the wilderness altar. Somehow didn't even see anybody here when I was also PK'd earlier that day at the Green Dragons, so not really sure how that works, but it worked out, so can't complain. And with that, as you can see, I got 34 prayer there, so not bad. Almost 2 overheads, probably the next inventory or 2 I'll get it. So we're back to make some more money to be able to do some more spells, and this is honestly one of my favorite locations now for Group Ironman, and especially after I added that plugin that you just saw. It pretty much, as you see, highlights all of the chests that you have keys for and lets you know how many you have, which is, helpful. I mean, it's not like it speeds things up too much, but it's a nice little visual aid. And at this point, I decided I don't want to keep using my hard-earned thieving money all at the dragons to potentially be PK'd. So I decided to do the smart thing, which I thought was gonna be just life-drainingly boring, but I honestly don't mind it, especially with Runelight running. This area is not as bad as I made it out to be in my mind. We're doing the Arceus, whatever you want to say, library. And this is the part of the video where we come to what I think is one of the easiest magic training methods for Ironman. I mean, by no means am I going to say this is the fastest method, but it is literally free. You are just investing your time. For those of you who haven't done this, just a quick rundown. You basically talk to the 3 people in this middle square that I'm near, and you just click help on them, and they will give you a book to find. Once you find it, you return it to them, and they will give you a book of experience, basically. I haven't done this in years, so when I was here and I saw that none of the books were highlighted or anything, and I just had these white squares, I was a little disheartened at first, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was concerned I was gonna have to blindly poke at all of this, but thankfully the Runelight client ends up helping you out once I think you find your first book, which you'll see in a second. I'm not sure if the normal RuneScape client does it, but you see here I pick up my first book, and I'm looking, and now it shows little like groupings of book the second time, which is kind of an odd thing, because by the third time it will actually show you where each thing is, and you see this little flickering arrow in the top left. It will even point the direction where you need to go for the book that you're trying to find. So honestly, it makes this a lot easier. If you already have like full graceful or something, this would be a breeze, or energy potions, either of those. I was just watching like TV and doing this, so I didn't mind it being kind of slower than it needed to be. But as you'll see, I speed through this pretty quickly, so you don't have to see me doing this for an hour straight. But once you get almost a full inventory, it is a big chunk of magic experience that you are gonna knock down. And as I said before, it is completely free. It doesn't take a whole lot of time. You see me messing up here. I didn't know what that meant. I was still new to the library. It meant that they were on the top floor, not the bottom floor. Ignore my ignorance. I was still figuring this out. So it just got easier and easier as I went on. And especially once you already have an inventory of books going, it just becomes even easier because I just grabbed every book that I could on my way up and down. That way you are more than likely, like right here, able to just have that book in your inventory for the next person already without having to go searching for it. Makes things go a lot faster. I also, as a heads up, would not suggest this training method really early on into your magic levels, because if you're only level 3 magic and you come here, each book is not going to give you very much. It scales with your level. So I would at least get to, like, I don't know, 20 maybe before you come here, just to make it worth your time. Maybe even 30. And by this point in the inventory, it starts becoming worth it to just open up all of your books, because then you're going to have to start dropping books or notes that you already have in order to grab the other. So unless it's really easy for you to grab the book, like this one, it was still on the same floor I was on, or unless you have the person's book already, I would just run it out until it is not convenient anymore, and then just open all of the books at once. So like right here, it's not worth it. I just start cranking open all the books. I mean, I'm getting basically 500 XP per book right here. I can't complain. Just look at the level chunk up. So although it is kind of slow at first, or feels slow when you're first grabbing the books, once you open up 3/4 of your inventory worth of books, it doesn't feel slow anymore. I mean, just that one inventory got me 2 magic levels, and it wasn't even a full inventory. So here we are, opening even more books, just cranking up that magic level. You gotta love watching that magic experience just fly up. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I don't know. It's pretty satisfying, in my opinion. So to reiterate, if you're planning on training magic and you don't want to have to grind away from like 40 magic all the way up to 55 or 60, I would suggest doing this, because otherwise you're going to find yourself just pumping most of your cash that you've earned through doing Group Ironman right into your runes. Personally, I stayed to level 55, which you can see in the bottom left. I just wanted to get high alchs so that I could make my favorite and personally most effective for me moneymaker in Group Ironman work out. I don't want to hear agility pyramid or anything. It's better money per hour. I'm aware, I know, but for me this is the most fun and effective way. I know there's just flat out more effective ways, but I'm not trying to get my agility to level 65 to be able to reap those benefits. The order that I did this in is different than how I would suggest doing it, just because I already had someone in my group with high alchemy abilities. So I had a stockpile just in case they got on and were able to clear things up. But I ended up just going and getting my level and doing it myself, so that's what I'm going to be doing here. I'm skipping through a lot of it, but I high alched a lot of stuff to the point where I no longer had nature runes, so it was time to go buy some. In an ideal world, you would already have a stack of nature runes and the ability to high alch before you go pickpocket the ham members and open those chests. But for me, and I'm sure for a lot of you, that's not how things are going to unfold. So I just kind of worked with what I had until I was in a comfortable enough spot to be able to get a stack of nature runes and bring them there. Now, in order to get convenient and not terribly expensive nature runes, there are a couple of options. The one that I'll end up going with after doing this quest was the Mage Arena one in the wilderness, but I started this quest just because this guy right here, my guy Ali Morrisane, he has a couple quests for you, and if you do, I want to say 3 of them, then he ends up selling nature runes, which is the end goal. I don't get it done this video. I just wanted to get a chunk done and show you guys little highlighted segments of doing that quest, because probably by the next video I'll have done the other 2, and then that will be where I get nature runes most of the time. It is slightly more expensive than the Mage Arena, but you run the risk of having to go to the wilderness for a little bit and it being slightly less convenient. So I think this will be worth it, and this quest wasn't too bad, honestly. There was 1 or 2 little hiccups that we'll get to where I almost died, but that's not important. I'm really good at this game, so we made it work. And I'm such a sack of shit that even on my main account that's over level 100, I just haven't done this quest as far as I remember, or if I did, maybe I did it on like my original account when I was a child, questing was just never in the docket for me, but it kind of has to be now, which I don't mind, but oh man, it just shows me how much I really haven't done in this game. I honestly find myself enjoying questing more and more as I do it though, which is kind of a breath of fresh air for me, because I used to dread quest walls and trying to get either items or whatever I needed to do. It would make me just ignore it harder if I was trying to unlock, let's say, like Barrow's gloves, for instance. Now, they're only like 130k, but you have to do the Elite Lumbridge and Draenor Diary, you have to do all of Recipe for Disaster quest, and I don't know, man, something about that just disheartened me when I was not even younger, just a few years ago, before I was getting into questing. It just really disinterested me from doing any other questing for some reason. Call it lazy, call it ADHD, whatever you will. Both of the shoes fit, so I won't argue with you. Between this point in the quest and where I skipped to is basically just a bunch of running. So here, this part was fine. I found the safe spot very easily, set it in the top left corner. Not a problem, right? Everything here was golden grams, no issues. Alright, so about a minute or so later, I whittled this guy down. Then go to the next one. This was where the issue came. Now, I cut out a lot of this because it was embarrassing. It was embarrassingly bad. It said use the stool to flinch him, couldn't find it, almost died twice. Then I just ran around here and used the crate. No problem. Got him easy peasy lemon squeezy. So, disaster avoided. Embarrassment still not really avoided, but hey, we finished it. Being more transparent than I should be, a big part of why I didn't continue this quest line and just get right to the nature runes is because of that last little blunder that I had. It took me a little longer than I'd care to admit. Not crazy long, but still, having to buy cheese and tomatoes from the store there to get my health back to try again was just a little too demoralizing for me. So I took my ass to the wilderness and hopped worlds over and over until I spent all of my money, and then I high-alked everything that I could. Everything that I could. That at least would make me some kind of money. Just having a stockpile of all of this jewelry was so nice though, because I got a fat chunk of magic experience from doing all of this, and then also got a nice stack of cash, world hopped again to get a ton of nature runes, and then from there you can just go right to the ham members and get at it, and you don't have to leave as long as you don't get slapped to death for pickpocketing. I would also advise wearing the ham outfit when you go there, because apparently it decreases your chance of being found out when you pickpocket. Didn't know that until someone was nice and told me. With that, I think we're gonna end it there. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to comment, subscribe, or I'll cry. Have a good one.